Hello, uh, welcome to my YouTube channel, Visions of Peace. My name is Terry Renee, and this will be the first video that I post. And it's not an easy one. It is completely unscripted. I do not have, there's no structure to this video. I am just releasing what is in my heart and on my mind right now. This video is not a it's not a happy one. Those of you who know me, I am usually very good energy, love and light, happy, smiling. But this video is about miscarriages. And it may get a little graphic throughout the video. So, you know, if this is not something that you know you can handle right now, you may want to pause it, come back to it at another time. I am currently going through a miscarriage. I found out on Friday that my baby did not have a heartbeat and that it stopped developing at about 6 weeks maybe. And it is one of the most tragic things I've ever had to deal with. Now, just fast forwarding a little bit, rewinding a bit. I suffered a miscarriage back in 2006. So I was around 28, 29 at that time. And I was a little short of 3 months, and I already went in and had my first sonogram and saw the baby's heartbeat. And I was going back for a second sonogram with my ex-boyfriend at the time, when they discovered there was no heartbeat. I was totally lost. Hurt. It was an extremely difficult time for me. I remember the nurses. I remember breaking down, and I remember the nurses saying, "Oh, don't worry. You know, you're still young. Just try again. You can have another one." And that is so dismissive, and I know that a lot of times people don't know what to say. I know people in the healthcare field see situations like this happen all the time. They say that 1 out of every 4 pregnancies end in a miscarriage. So I understand that people in the healthcare can get numb to things like this, but it was so insensitive. And even at that age, I felt offended and just like, why would you say that? And I know that she didn't mean anything. You know, I know that she wasn't intentionally trying to hurt me, but it was hurtful. Because honestly, you're saying that to a person not knowing if they can have another kid. You're saying that to a person not knowing if they will ever have another kid. And, you know, it's kind of just like, oh, you know, you're young, great, you know, just try again. So I was extremely hurt. It was a lot to deal with. I remember going back home and waiting for the miscarriage to happen naturally. A couple of days later, I was in so much pain, and I was bleeding so much that my doctor said for me to go into the ER, and I did. My ex-boyfriend was there at the time, holding my hand the entire time. I was in so much pain. His hand was numb. And I remember laying on a cold stretcher, the same stretcher that I came in with from the ambulance. And then they transferred me onto another cold bed. I just remember it being cold, and I remember being in pain and waiting over an hour, waiting hours, just there in pain in a fetal position, crying, cold. It took forever for them to even get me a blanket. It was a horrible experience. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, and I know that so many of us have been through this. And then finally, I was seen by a doctor. There was nothing, no compassion, no anything. They set me up to have a DNC, which is when they remove the fetus from your womb. And they put me to sleep. And when I woke up, I was told that it was successful. And I remember still being in pain and just feeling so much hurt and loss. And that was my first experience. I was in church at the time. I do remember that. I was an avid churchgoer. And I just remember praying to God and just praying for healing and whatnot. I had my family, I had my friends there for me. My dad was so happy when he found out I was pregnant. And, it was kind of, when you miscarry, it kind of snatches away everyone's happiness about your pregnancy. And it was a hard time. So this time around, I am newly married. I got married on September the 5th, 2020. It was an amazing wedding. COVID wedding, but still amazing. And my husband and I planned to go to Las Vegas the next day to enjoy a short honeymoon. We were going to stay with his friend Brian. And we did. We went to Vegas. We had an amazing time. We went skydiving. We went riding ATVs, four-wheelers through the desert. It was a lot of those type of activities since it's COVID, and a lot of other things were shut down, and we enjoyed it because those are things that we both enjoy doing. Being up in the desert with all the dust and the California smoke, since the California is having the forest fires, and the air was very smoky. And although I had a mask on, I did not realize until once we got back to the hotel, my asthma started to mess with me. So I was using my pump throughout the night. Around 3 a.m., I woke up and the pump just was not working. And I'm very familiar about asthma attacks. I've had asthma my entire life, and I just knew the pump wasn't working, and it was coming down to that point where I may need to go into the ER to have a nebulizer treatment. I went and I looked at urgent care facilities, found one, woke my husband up and said, we gotta go. We go downstairs. The cab driver actually recommends that we go to a closer urgent care that usually has less people. I was like, let's go. He gets us there within, I don't even know if it was a full 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes. And of course they see me right away, as they usually do for asthma patients. And because it's COVID, they had to first test me to make sure I did not have COVID before giving me a nebulizer treatment, because what would happen is I would breathe in and out, and when I breathe out, the air would be filled with COVID, with the virus. So they gave me a steroid to at least help loosen up the lungs while I was being tested for COVID. I should also say that during this time, I want to say that I realized that the reason my pump wasn't working is because I picked up an expired pump. So that's my fault. I bought an expired pump with me. It wasn't working. Anyway, test come back negative for COVID. My husband is there the entire time, supporting me. And they finally give me the nebulizer treatment after giving me something else that I had an allergic reaction to, but we won't get into that. They ran a whole bunch of tests. The nebulizer treatment started to work. And they wanted to run more tests. And honestly, I've never had this much stuff done with going in for a nebulizer treatment. I'm usually in and out. So, you know, they usually give you the nebulizer treatment. They may monitor you for maybe 10 minutes after that, and then you go on your way. And that's what I was hoping for, because we had plans to go to Grand Canyon the same morning. So I was like, we could still get home, still get some sleep in, and then wake up in the morning to go. So they wanted to check my lungs, so they took urine, they took blood. Long story short, the doctor comes back in and says, by any chance, are you pregnant? And I'm like, no. Now, I said no, although, you know, my husband and I have been trying for over a year, but still, you know, no. So he said, well, I ran the test a couple of times and it's coming back that you're pregnant. He said it's very faint, so you're probably early in your pregnancy, but it's coming back that you're pregnant. So if you don't want to do the x-ray, I looked at my husband and I was like, absolutely no, no x-ray. I was just full of so much joy and love. Now, he did not want to congratulate me because he was not sure. He said that it was very faint. The line was very faint. So he did not want to congratulate us. Now, we also did not want to get too excited either. We you know, kept our composure. We went back home. We did get a nap in. We woke back up. We got ready to go to Grand Canyon. We got to the Grand Canyon. It was the most amazing place ever. That I could leave that for another video. When we were leaving, I just felt it. I took a little walk and I walked away and I was just breathing in and out deeply, and I just felt pregnant. I just knew I was pregnant. I knew that my husband didn't want to celebrate. He didn't want to see me get disappointed. He didn't want to disappoint himself, but I just felt it. And I told him, I said, I know it, I'm pregnant. He was like, I don't want to get too crazy. I said, I know. When we got back to the hotel room, I just started crying because I just could not believe it. I rejoiced. I cried. I was so happy. He comforted me, and we both knew inside, but we still need to test. So a couple of days later, once we got back home, my husband went and he bought a pregnancy test, one that says pregnant and not pregnant, because I ain't want to look at any faint lines. And it came back that I was pregnant. I could not be any more happy. We could not be any more happy. We cried, we celebrated, we prayed, we made a video. Probably one of the most happiest days of my life, the most happiest day of my life. Decided not to tell anyone except for my immediate family, my mother, my brother, my sister. A couple more handful of people, because we wanted to wait. We wanted to wait until I was in my safe zone, right? Which is the second trimester. Most people, you just want to wait until you hear a heartbeat even. So we waited. I made an appointment to see my gynecologist. She confirmed I was pregnant. She showed me the sac, the pregnancy, where the placenta was forming, everything. It was a great day. I was still very early. I was only 5 weeks, so no heartbeat, nothing like that, but it was amazing. I immediately started reading every book, watching a tremendous amount of videos online, trying to figure out what changes I need to make, trying to be the healthiest mom that I could be. I am a yoga instructor, so I started already with my prenatal yoga. changed my diet, cut out a million things, increased my water intake, did everything that I could do. I already contacted a nurse through my insurance, and they have a program to where the nurse checks up on you every month. Everything was going as planned. And I spent a tremendous amount of time looking for the best OB. I really wanted a woman OB because that's just my preference, no other reason. And I ended up finding one with great reviews. Made my appointment to go and get my sonogram, and I have this app, and the app was telling me, oh, by now your baby is approaching being the size of a grape, and it's moving its hands and its feet, but you can't see it, and there should be a heartbeat when you get your ultrasound. And I was just looking forward to it. Taiwan, my husband, was looking forward to it. A week before my appointment, I woke up to some spotting, light spotting. It was dark brown, and I immediately became scared. Now, remember the last time I didn't have any spotting. It was a routine sonogram. They ended up seeing no heartbeat. But once that happened, a day later, I started to spot, and then it went on to full-blown bleeding. So I saw spotting. I got nervous. Number one, I'm Rh negative, which means that my blood may become toxic to the baby. I hope I'm saying that right. Either that way or it's the reverse. But you basically need a shot, and the shot is what builds up the antigens in the blood, which kind of makes things okay. So I knew that I needed to go in and get that shot. I knew that I needed to go in and get a sonogram to make sure the baby was okay. So I called my doctor's office, and they fit me in for the same day. I was nervous. My husband was not nervous at all. Now, there could be a million of other reasons of why you spot, like your first instinct shouldn't be miscarriage, but when you have already had a miscarriage, that's where your mind goes. I was nervous, but I prayed, and then I started to I spoke to my sister, and she was like, well, I looked online, and it says that you may have some spotting, especially if it's around the same time that you usually have your menstrual and stuff like this. And I knew that the stuff she was saying was right because I had read about this as well. And it was around the time when I would have my regular menstrual. So those things would give me a little bit of relief, but it was still in the back of my head that it may be something wrong. So we went to the doctor's appointment, and she was amazing. I was very happy with her. I was happy that I found her. And when she went in to do the sonogram, she said that there is no heartbeat, and the baby stopped developing weeks ago. So the baby stopped developing maybe around 6 weeks. I truly can't express my feeling at that time. I kept looking at the sonogram, hoping that she was wrong, waiting for her to find something, a heartbeat, see something, realize she got something wrong. But none of that happened. I started to cry. My husband comforted me. The doctor comforted me. We all forgot about COVID. She held me in her arms. It was the most tragic thing that I've heard, the most tragic news that I've ever heard. like I said, we've been trying to get pregnant. It hasn't been happening. Although I know that I'm still fertile. My doctor checked me. She's like, you're still fertile. Just go and keep having sex. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. And then to get pregnant, to see that the baby was implanted in the right spot, and to fall in love with the baby, to already talk to the baby, to come up with names, to already start planning, to have to deal with this type of news is the most horrifying thing. Now, I had to stick around for the shot. My husband had to actually go and get it from the pharmacy and bring it back to the doctor's office for me to get the injection. I broke down again 2 other times before he even got back. The staff was so compassionate and kind. They all held me. They all held me up. Man, I can't. If you've ever been through a miscarriage, you know the feeling. You know exactly what I'm trying to express, but what I can't even get the words to describe. So, again, to be told that you're heading back home with a dead fetus inside of you, no heartbeat, to go back home and try to pass it naturally is one of the worst news ever. We cried. We got home and cried some more, and so then you're here, you're waiting for it to pass. Again, sometimes doctors don't really explain what it feels like and what you have to look forward to. So I'm going to make sure that I do that here for anyone. So basically, your uterus is going to contract as if you're having a baby, which is also torture because you're having contractions and you're not producing a baby. It's a torture to your mind, to your heart, to your spirit, to everything. The pain for some women are not that bad. For others, it is horrific. And that's what I'm dealing with. I have a very high tolerance for pain. I do not like taking pills. I would do anything than to have to take a pill. Last resort are pills. I have been popping those pills like nothing. It says every 3 hours, and I've been popping it every 3 hours. The pain was unbearable. And every day that I thought, okay, this is it, because the pain was just so bad and I've passed so much blood through my body that I'm thinking that, okay, this is it. The next day it would get worse. And that just kept happening. So today, this happened last Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today's the 6th day. I woke up around 5:45, right before 6 o'clock. The contractions woke me up out of my sleep. It's like my uterus hates me. The pain was unbearable. And it kept coming. So then I started to time it, just like you would time contractions. It started every 5 minutes, and it will last about 2 to 3 minutes. Then it started every 3 minutes, and it will last 2 to 3 minutes. I knew I had an appointment today to see the doctor because I called the doctor yesterday and she told me she wanted me to come in today to see how things were going because she even thought that by now the pain would have subsided some and that the bleeding also would have. I bled through my pad. I still clocked in from work because I work from home. So the only day I took off this week was Monday. I worked yesterday and today I clocked in because I just already told my manager that I'll be taking a half a day today because I knew I had to go in to see my doctor, but I did not know that I was going to wake up with this pain. I stuck it through. We headed to the doctor's office and once I got into the room, she asked me what was going on and I told her my uterus is contracting every 3 to 5 minutes. This has been going on all day since 6 a.m. this morning. I need some sort of relief. I don't know what's going on, but something's going on. Something's not right. So she did the sonogram, and in the beginning, she didn't see anything. She was like, it's just a little bit of blood here. I don't understand why your uterus will be reacting like this just to get this little amount out. And I'm just like, no, it has to be something wrong. And then I said to her, could this have anything to do with the fact that I have a tilted cervix? I have a tilted cervix. Whenever I see a new GYN, she's looking for my cervix. And I'm always having to direct her and like, it's tilted. You got to go down. It's down and back. She was like, well, let me see. Let me take a look. She looks at my cervix because remember, she's looking at my uterus. She's looking at my womb because that's where the baby was. My uterus pushed the baby backwards. So the entire sac now is sitting behind my cervix, buried deep in there. And it was no longer where it was before. And that is why I was having this unbearable pain that was killing me. I felt like I was dying. I texted one of my best friends this morning and I was like, I am dying. I text my sister the same thing because that's how I felt. So the sac, the entire sac. So although I've been having all that bleeding, none of that was the tissue. None of that was the actual fetus. The entire sac was laying behind my cervix. So I had already expressed to my doctor that I do not want to go through a DNC. And this is not to say that anything's wrong with the DNC. It's my own personal preference because it gives more of a risk. It's a surgical procedure. I had one before. I don't even know. You never know what could happen, and there are risks of any sort of invasive procedure, and I can't afford to have any more risk. I'm 43 years old. I'm without child, 2 miscarriages. I can't afford any more risk. So I had already expressed that to her. So she was like, I know you don't want to do the ER. I know you don't want to have a DNC. She was like, I have a colleague who, with something like this, she could use a suction device to remove it. She said, I want to see if I could speak to her, maybe have you come in tomorrow. But while she was still looking, she was like, but I could see it. It's right here. Maybe it's something I could do. And I said, I trust you. I trust you. I want to feel better. The pain was so bad that I couldn't grieve and I couldn't mourn the way that I really need to because the pain, and I just knew that I didn't pass the babies yet, the pregnancy. So she came back in with some tools and another doctor, another OB, and that OB basically did the sonogram so that she could keep the camera on the sac while my OB removed the sac. My husband had both my hands. I was in so much pain. he's amazing, and I can't express that as much as I want to, because he's going through it. He's going through it, and he's still just trying to be strong for me, and I don't even have the strength to comfort him the way that I want to, because I'm just so fucked up in the head. So I'm holding his hands. She's in there trying to remove it. The other doctor's guiding her. They get the sac out. Instantly, I feel this pressure lifted, because that's also what I didn't say. When I hear women talk about the pressure when the baby's coming out, that's all I was feeling. It just felt like it was this pressure inside with pain, and that pressure was released. I was bleeding, like a waterfall, just coming down. But that was everything that was backed up behind my cervix. It was hard. It was hard. It is hard. The thoughts that were going through my head, me finally knowing that the sac is removed, was emotions to deal with. The doctor she's so amazing. She spoke to me. She helped clean me up. She put the tissues, the sac, to the side. So when I did get up and was trying to clean myself up the best that I could and clean the area up, and I needed to take a look. Guys, I just needed that. I needed to look in and see. So I did. And I don't regret it, because although now in this part of my life, I truly don't believe in closure, it gave me a sense of, you're okay now. The baby soul is where it's supposed to be. The spirit is where it's supposed to be. And I'm going to be all right. So, yeah. I cleaned myself up. My husband was there with me, and spoke to the doctor a little bit more before I left. She prescribed misoprostol, which is going to also make my uterus contract some more, but that's going to completely clean out any sort of tissues that's left back. And by this weekend, physically, I should be in a better place. After that, I plan on using all the tools that I have to deal with the mental and emotional pain. Grieving for my unborn child, mourning, and then healing at my own pace with my own time. I don't know what is in store for me. I don't know what's next. I do know that I still want a baby. I know that. I still want my own child. I am lucky enough to have gained 2 stepchildren, amazing stepchildren. I have 9 godkids. I have an amazing niece who I wish was mine. She's so amazing. But I want my own. And although I can't completely wrap my mind around that thought right now, I will revisit again to talk about what my next steps are once I go through this process. But I wanted to share this for anyone who's out there. And I didn't talk about my last miscarriage. Women are usually embarrassed. We usually feel something's wrong with us. It's so many, stereotypical thoughts that go along with miscarriages that I didn't talk about it. And plus, I was on the young side and I did not know how to express myself. But I have seen videos of women of all ages that helped me. So I'm hoping that this helps someone out there. You are whole with or without a child. Your want for a child is your want, and never be embarrassed about it. But you are whole with or without a child. You are entitled to go through all the feelings for as long as you need to. You deserve compassion and empathy from your family and friends and strangers for your loss. You should celebrate your loss or deal with your loss in whichever way you feel like. And the reason I said celebrate is because in my mind, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do to honor my child. And my husband suggested we have a little ceremony. And I want to do it. I'm going to do it. So come up with what's best for you in dealing with this type of loss, and do not be hard on yourself. Be compassionate to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Know that this is a journey. Know that it takes time. Use whatever you have, whether it's meditation, praying, yoga, taking alone time. Use the tools that you have to get to where you need to be. And if you need counseling and you need therapy, get it. I have not spoken to my therapist this week, but I plan on doing it next week. Find a support system. There are free support systems out there. And if what I will do is list them below when I do post this video. And again, I hope that this has helped. And I will be back again to talk about my next steps with being over 40 and miscarrying twice already and still wanting to have my own child. I'll let you know what's next. Thank you. If this video was helpful, if you did like it, please subscribe to my channel, Visions of Peace, and comment below. Please be kind. Be kind to each other. Bye.